I think being an entrepreneur requires a different level of faith. And
Yeah.
I think when you do have faith, like, that's what can sustain you through the entrepreneur journey, because there's so many trials, there's so many tribulations. Even when things are going well, I think there's even more trials and tribulations when things are going well, to be honest with you. And you just have to have faith at the end of the day and just know that things are going to work out. And I always say, like, with hard work and faith, like, literally anything is possible. Anything is possible. And that's why, I do love the entrepreneur journey so much, is because you can write your own destiny. You can write your own story versus being employed. That pen is never in your hands. It's in somebody else's hands.
Welcome back to the Massive Passive Cash Flow Podcast. I'm Gary Wilson, your host. So glad to have you back listening to the show or watching. If that's the case, of course, you can watch it now. Not live, it's recorded, of course, but you can do both. We have an excellent guest today, Chris A. Williams. And guess what, guys? He's from the 757, man. Just like me. So this week, I just found that out right before the show. So this is going to be an awesome podcast, because my first property was, I just turned 23 down there, and I was just telling Chris about that. But he's got an even better story than I do. So Chris, first off, man, thank you for joining us. I know we're lucky to have you. You got a great story, and I can't wait to hear everybody to hear it. But thanks for joining us today, man.
Yeah, Gary, thank you so much for having me on. Definitely an honor to be on. I'm looking forward to the episode, and definitely looking forward to giving the audience some valuable information. My request is that, hey, they could just take one thing. If they just take one thing that I say and they're able to implement it and make them money, then, hey, my job's done.
You got it. So, well, first off, I guess I should explain to people who don't know what's the 757. I just realized you and I know what it is, and everybody from Hampton Roads knows. But guys, it's the opening of the Chesapeake Bay, the southern easternmost part of Virginia, that encompasses 7 cities: Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Hampton, Newport News, Suffolk, and Portsmouth. It's a great place to be. I've spent a lot of years there. In fact, I'm probably going to be going back there, because all my friends are still there, walking distance to each other, and just living a life. And I've been working way too hard. It's time for me to have some fun. So I'm going to have Chris help me find a fourplex. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, so, definitely help me with that.
So Chris, go ahead. If you don't mind, take us back, like, when was it you knew you wanted to be getting in this business of real estate investing? It was as early as high school, college, or kind of tell us what that tipping point was. What were you doing, and then take us forward.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I started in real estate as an agent when I was 20 years old. And the thing about that is, a lot of people, when they start young, it's because they have family in real estate, or they have like some sort of inkling in high school that they want to be in real estate. That wasn't the case for me at all whatsoever. Like, I didn't even know anything about real estate outside of the houses where you lived at. I don't even think I knew the difference between owning and renting. Probably about until a few months before I decided to take the class. So I knew nothing about real estate. Like, literally, I remember growing up as a child, my mom, she did like watching House Hunters and watching HGTV. And I hated it so much that anytime HGTV was on, I would walk out the room and do something else. Like, I didn't care anything about real estate at all. So, how I discovered real estate is, I have an interesting story. I was actually supposed to be going to college to play football. And about a week before training camp started for football, they informed me that I didn't have a scholarship anymore. So at that point in life, I was, my whole goal, my whole purpose in life, or so I thought, was being a football player. So I didn't have any plan B. I didn't have any other options. Didn't really know what to do. So I decided to go to community college while I figured things out. Community college wasn't for me. Dropped out after one semester, and I was like, all right, let me just go to the military, because I thought that was my only other option. Military wouldn't let me in because I have a heart murmur. So
me too.
Yeah, they were slow playing me with that. So at the time, while I was waiting to hear back and such, I was working at Enterprise, not selling cars, but actually I was the one in the back cleaning the cars out. Cleaning the cars at Enterprise, and I was also working at Foot Locker selling shoes. So I would work those 2 jobs every single day. Enterprise from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then Foot Locker 2 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., give or take. And I got to the point after doing this for a couple of months, I'm like, man, this just can't be it. Like, this can't be life. There's no way I'm gonna be 40 years old just doing this same thing, like tired and beat up, and I'm not making any money. So one of the great things about me cleaning cars is I had a lot of free time to either listen to music or take information, listen to podcasts, and I chose to listen to podcasts. And one of the podcasts I was listening to, one of my favorite ones, the host, he always talked about real estate. And if you keep on hearing about something, it sounds good eventually. So I'm like, all right, let me look into this. And I looked into it, and real estate investing, I realized that's what he's talked about. But I didn't know what I know now. I was 20 years old at the time, and I had about
Mhm.
$30 in my bank account. So I'm like, there's no way I can be an investor. So I'm like, all
Right.
right, what's the
Yeah.
next best option? And that's when real estate agent popped up. And my
Mhm.
thoughts at the time was, hey, I'm selling shoes at Foot Locker. I'm one of the top salespeople in the district. Like, I'm good at selling shoes. So if I can sell
Mhm.
shoes, I can sell houses, no problem. That was
Mhm.
my mindset. And I
Yeah.
decided, shortly after to get licensed. And, when I was 20, became a licensed agent in the middle of COVID, or actually not in the middle, at the start of COVID is literally
Mhm.
when I got my license. And yeah, that's how I started in real estate. It's been five
Awesome.
years. It's been a journey.
Yeah. So in the 757, are you working south side or peninsula, both, or what's your area of focus there?
Yeah, as far as real estate goes, I mean
Yeah.
everywhere. I mean, I have houses on both the south side and both the peninsula. My preferred is the south side though. I
Yeah.
currently live in Norfolk myself, but my office is in Virginia Beach. But I'm wherever the deals are at, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I just keep having these flashbacks when I was in school there. I was at Old Dominion, and we didn't have a football team then. So we used
Oh,
to go watch Norfolk State. But then we
yeah,
finally, and we were putting money into the account. There was like this fund you could fund, and we kept saying, hey, we're going to get football, man. Well, actually, 5, 10, 15 years goes by, and we're forgetting about it. They
yep,
finally launched a team, and we got to see Norfolk State play Old Dominion, and it's just an awesome event down there. It's been
yeah,
a long time coming, but
hmm,
what's interesting is Norfolk has, and if you got area has areas like Ghent, for example.
hmm,
When I was your age there, Ghent was pretty good, and it was a great place for students, the graduate students, to live because they could be away from campus and all
yeah,
the beer drinking going on there.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but now people are going in there and remodeling and turning these, going through gentrification. These properties are awesome, and the price ranges. I'm like,
yeah,
holy! I should have stayed there, man. The
yeah.
water views and everything. But what was so? Tell us about, like, did you work with investors as an agent at first, and then realize you could do it yourself, or did you just start listening to the investing podcasts and kind of tell us about the first property? Let's just start there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. So I didn't do an investment myself until about, I'll say, 4 years of being a real estate agent. And the thing is, I knew about investing, but I just didn't do it because I was scared to do it. Because I was
Hmm.
scared to mess up, to be honest with you. So my first brokerage that I was with them for 2 years. They told us, do not work with investors. It's a waste of your time. So I didn't, because I was just going off of what they said. And then when I got
Yeah.
with my second brokerage, that's what they really focused on is
Yeah.
the investing aspect, and they showed how the investing aspect can intercede or intertwine with the real estate team also too. So I'm like, oh, all right, this makes sense, and it makes a lot of sense to work with investors, and that's how I was able to grow my business as an agent and scale my business. Put it
Mhm.
pretty much put on autopilot just by knowing the investing side. So I was helping out investors, I would say, for let's say 2 years. About 2 years. I was seeing how they did their deals, and it would even come to the point where people would reach out to me, and they would be
Mhm.
off market investment deals. And I just kept on giving them to the investors. And I was like, all right, let me just watch you guys do it. Let me just see. And then I
Right.
had done this about 5 or 6 times. And then it got to the point where I had to sit myself down, like, okay, if you don't do it now, you're really just never going to do it. You're just going to keep on giving all these deals. You know what to do. Like, just do it.
Mhm.
So my first investment deal that I purchased was a rental, actually,
Okay.
long-term rental property. And the reason I purchased it was because I had it listed as an agent. I was the
Mhm.
listing agent, and it was not
Mhm.
selling. And we couldn't figure out why it was selling. Like, I mean, we knew why it was selling. It wasn't anything too crazy. It was location. It was beyond our control.
Right.
But the owners really needed to be out of the property,
Mhm.
and us just sitting on the market was actually put them in a very distressed situation because
Mhm.
they couldn't pay. They need to sell because they couldn't pay the mortgage. So
Yeah.
I just had this light bulb moment after like 40 days on the market. I'm like, hey, why don't I just buy this myself?
Right.
And the thing was though, why, and another reason why I didn't want to buy at that time, what was holding me back was because the interest rates were higher. That's when interest
Yeah.
rates had first risen. So I'm like, okay, not only do I got to put it down to 20% down payment, but I also got to put, I got to get killed on this interest rate. So I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
this can't be it. Let me start exploring. And that's when I found out about creative financing. And
Hmm.
that's how I ended up purchasing that property was with creative financing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like it didn't cost me that much to buy this house. Like, let me see if I can
Right.
do it again. And I did it again and again. And that's my main method right now is creative finance. That's what I love to do.
Yeah. Well, what's amazing is, I've written 8 books, and this the sixth book called The Massive Passive Cash Flow Method. And in
Yeah.
there, one chapter is all about creative purchasing techniques. There's like 30
Yeah.
different techniques. And a lot of people are scared of them. Like the first broker you were working with,
Mm-hmm.
shame on them. They just didn't
Yeah.
understand investing, and they didn't probably invest themselves, and they didn't understand investors, so they frustrated. Of course, they
Yeah.
didn't realize the investors were frustrated too because the agents didn't know what they were doing. But the
Yeah.
thing is, creative purchasing techniques, we've been doing this for decades and
Yep.
hundreds of years, and it's all that's done in commercial. Commercial is
Yep.
all about being creative. All we did
Mhm.
is we took the creativity and brought it down in a residential world because nobody was doing it and everybody was afraid of it. And my first
Mhm.
property, the one I was telling you about down on, I don't know if I can give the address on the air or not, but the one I told you about down in Virginia
Yeah.
Beach, this was in 1986, January. Prior to that, interest rates were 18, 21%. So we assumed this guy's first mortgage, it was a VA mortgage. And guys, you can still do that today.
Yep.
People say you can't assume anymore. Baloney. You have to qualify. Back then, you didn't
Yeah.
have to qualify. Now you got to qualify.
Yeah.
So we assumed his first mortgage. We refinanced his second. He had a second on it. That was like 13%. And we gave him a third note for the remaining equity. And it was as creative as you could get. But you know what?
Nice.
We rented out the other 2 bedrooms, and Socrates was my roommate in college, and I bought it with him. We had our own rooms, and their rents, the other 2 guys' rents, covered all about $50 of our outgoing, principal and interest payments. And I'm thinking,
Nice.
this is it, man.
Nice.
This is what I'm going to do. We bought a boat. With everything Sock's dad told us not to do. He said, "No, don't go waste your money. Go buy the next house." But we're 23 years old, man. We bought a boat. Then we had to buy
Yeah.
something to tow the boat, and the
Yeah.
boat kept breaking down. In any case, finally I got married and bought another house and moved out of there. But the point is, guys, listen to Chris because he's telling you the gospel truth. All you have to do is ask. If you don't ask for a creative purchasing strategy, the answer is automatically no. So why
Yep.
not ask? You know,
Exactly.
it's a. And by the way, I've got to ask you. I know I don't think we can get in trouble for doing this, but um, I want to give a pat on the back to the second brokerage you went to. But who was the first brokerage that told you to not deal with investors? If you don't mind sharing, I probably know who they are actually. So
Um. Oh, I don't know if I should share. I don't
yeah.
necessarily know if it was the broker's fault. I'll say, in a sense, it was more so.
Was it a big box company? One of the big franchise models?
It wasn't actually. That's why I don't.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't a bigger franchise. Now they were with a bigger franchise, but they're more independent, I'll say. So it was more
gotcha.
so the agents in the office that were saying that.
Okay,
Yeah, they were more so saying that, and then we just didn't. We just it was never taught on in our training, like really touching on
all right.
investors. Except
Yeah,
when I asked about it, it was hey, like don't waste your time in a sense.
yeah. Well, that's a good answer. You did the right thing because I'm like, but you're right. Chance the big boss companies generally
Oh my
are
gosh, yeah, I deal with that
they're
all
not
the time. I'm like,
not
oh.
investor. So the company you went with, are you still with the company you went with, or do you have your own brokers now?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. So I have my own now. It's interesting. So that company that I was with, we're actually business partners now. I was
excellent,
able to branch off, have my own team and such. And now for the brokerage, I'm in ownership with them also too.
nice. All
Yeah.
right. So now you can tell this. What's your brokerage company's name? You're allowed. We
Yeah.
want you to
So
do that. Did you know that you can participate in class every Monday? We call it Monday Night Live, 7 p.m. Eastern, with me and dozens of other investor agents from around the country, in fact, the world. Every Monday, totally free. No selling, no recruiting, just straight up education on anything and everything in real estate. And we have a lot of good guests coming on once or twice a month, bringing in expertise on subjects like how to buy a house with crypto. Okay. How about them apples? What about AI? How's AI affecting our business? How about the metaverse, blockchain processing? We're already using it in title work. So come on to Monday Night Live, be ready to take notes and ask questions because it's live and engaging and you get to participate by asking questions and meeting others. So we'll see you there. Go to realestatewithgarywilson.com, click on the resource tab, drop down, and you'll see Monday Night Live. And in there, you can see one of the most recent classes. But more importantly, you can register for class as many as you want going up to like the end of the year, I believe. So in any case, do that. We'll see you on Monday Night Live. Look forward to meeting you in person. Take care.
Yeah, so my team is Assets Real Estate Team, and my brokerage is First Class Real Estate Equity Group.
Okay. Yep. I actually I know some of those guys. I don't know if I know them right there. And
Okay.
wait a minute, I think I do know some of them down there. Yeah.
Okay.
I could probably rattle off a bunch of names that this will be a 5-hour podcast,
Yeah.
But any case, well, I got to ask you. You ever hear of a guy named Greg Covington?
That name sounds familiar. I don't know him though, but it does sound familiar.
He's awesome. He's not with your company or
Okay.
the other one, but any case, I've known him for years. He's an investor and he's an agent. And next time I'm down there, we'll grab a bite to eat. We'll meet. I'll meet you. I'll introduce you to Greg. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, my wheels are spinning. I know this was a podcast here, but my wheels are going crazy here. So let's go into so what you're doing now, your model. Let's talk about your business model. I want the agents to really focus on this, and I want the investors who are not agents to also focus in on this, because it's sort of like what I did. I realized I got something unique that most agents aren't doing.
Yeah.
I got repeat business. I don't need 3,000 people. I mean, Chris, my database when I was in production, at the biggest was 167 people.
Yeah.
But I was doing personally 100 plus transactions a year, because they would buy 3, 4, 5 properties a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So take us down that path and talk about the business structure, how you have it set up. What are some key things people need to be aware of? Like when you're in business, for example, you can't be like what you offer is one thing, your service or your product. That's what you offer. You have to be good at that. Obviously, you wouldn't be doing this.
Yep.
But being in business requires a different set of skills. Being a business person, right? So, can you unravel that a little bit for people? Because I want to help some people today.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's a great question, and we can get so vast into that. I'll speak on the business aspect first. One of the biggest things when transitioning, and this is really to agents too, because a lot of agents, they don't run their business as a business. They kind of run it as like a side hustle, even though they may be working in full time. They don't really do the things that they should do as a business. So when you're running as a business, you really want to know your numbers. Your data is one of the most important things at the end of the day, because if you don't have trackable data, how do you know what to improve? So now you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and you can't scale your business because you don't know your data. So I think knowing your data is one of the biggest things, and most agents just don't know their data. So that's huge. Also having certain KPIs also too. Like that's why I kind of laugh when people say they don't want to become an agent because the income is too unpredictable. Well, it's only unpredictable if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your KPIs. For each one of my agents, we know exactly how much they should be making, because all they got to do is just follow the formula. If you want to make this much, you need to have this amount of closings, to have this amount of closings, you need to have this amount of contracts signed, you need to have this amount of appointments set, this amount of appointments met. To have that, you need to make this amount of calls, so on and so on. So we do that business planning with each agent to have them know exactly what they need to do. Now we're running it as a real business. We have trackable metrics and such. So I think that's a huge thing. I would really go down to the numbers at the end of the day, just really knowing your numbers. And also too, a big thing with, if you really want to run this as a business, that quote, scare money, don't make no money. You're gonna have to spend some money on it. Like if you really want to grow, you're gonna have to spend money. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily gotta, pay for ads and things like that if you're not comfortable. Sometimes, that may not be needed. But you are gonna have to spend some money on hiring admin, hiring other staff, all of these things. Like that's when my business really exploded, is when I had to suck it up, and actually today's the 15th, just had to run payroll. But I had to pay other people to come in and, do what they do. But when you pay people, and you delegate, you get your time back, and you can focus on income producing activities. So my first thing that I did as an agent was I hired a TC. And for me, that was tough. Even though I was only paying my TC $200 a transaction, I'm like, well, what I could, go to Roof Chris or get some steak with that $200. I want that $200. But how much time that saved me was so amazing. That $200 so worth it at the end of the day. So I think you
Yeah.
just got to figure out what is the lowest, leverage activities in your business, which is your admin work, to be honest with you, things like
Hmm.
that. And you focus on what's your highest leverage activities. And as an agent, that's selling. So focus on selling, focus on that. So I think that's a huge point right there. When we're talking about business building tactics. Now if we're talking about like kind of the business model as far as the real estate company goes, we work hand in hand with investors. We love working with investors. And the reason why
Yeah.
I preach on that so heavy, especially for my new agents, because
Hmm.
the biggest complaint with agents, regardless of their new experience, whatever it is leads. They're like, oh, we
Yeah.
don't have enough leads. Like, there's not enough people that want to buy a house. There's not enough people that want to sell a house. The interest rates are high, so nobody wants to buy a house. Sellers say they don't want to sell because of the global economy. Well, guess what? An investor doesn't care about. You don't care about none of that. Investors just care about numbers. At the end of the day,
Right.
if we had a nuclear war right now, investors still could probably go buy or sell a house. At the
Yeah.
hey,
It's an opportunity.
exactly. It's an
Yeah.
opportunity. So I always preach you
Yeah.
got to find investors, you got to work with them, and you got to provide value to them. That's the biggest thing. Like,
Yeah.
don't just post on Facebook, hey, like I'm looking for investors to work with. Don't do that. But what I
Right.
teach my agents is the formulas, things like that investors are looking for. So as an agent, you have MLS access. In your MLS access, you can access any property that is for sale. You can scan those because as an agent, you have so much time. You have all the
Hmm.
time in the world, especially if you don't have any other clients as a new person. All that time
Right.
be dedicated towards scourging the MLS every single day, looking for hours, looking for deals, and
Yeah.
writing offers. And honestly, you're probably going to get rejected on a lot of them. But
Yeah.
okay, if you write 20 and one gets accepted, okay, that's money for
Yeah.
you. Because let's say
Yeah.
it's a deal, it's a flip. Let's say it's a flip, for example. All right.
Yeah.
Not only do you get paid your buyer's agent commission representing them as the buyer, but
Hmm.
when they flip it, you also get paid as a listing agent. And as we know as agents, a lot of times you can get a buyer too. You can double end it. So you have three
Right.
potential ways you can get paid as an agent when working with investors versus if you're
Oh
working
yeah.
with a traditional client, you only get paid once. And then you have to worry
Exactly.
about the follow up and doing all the nurture and credit repair, all like it's just not the best uses of time at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we heavy on that.
There's I'll tell you what, you definitely you found the it's really not a secret, but a lot of agents consider it a secret. What's your secret? Because people used to ask me, how did I do 100 transactions a year? Because
Yeah.
I didn't even have any assistants. I would just put my head down, Chris, and just charge away. Man, I was working till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
And
my
one day my
gosh.
broker called me up. He said, "Hey, I need to get a picture of you for the newspaper." And I wasn't the worst kid in the world, but I wasn't the best either. So I said, what do I do? You know, he said, no, you won awards. You beat everybody out. Nobody's ever done 100 plus a year solo like that.
Wow. That's
And the
great.
reason I said, I'll take that. But, and then
Great.
then people would ask me to come and speak and talk. And I'd tell people exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I knew instinctively 99 out of 100 walking out of that room going right back to what they were doing. They would not
Yeah. Yep.
take what I was telling them and try to implement themselves. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I had one client buy 41 properties with me. One client, 41 properties,
Oh
not
my
in a year,
gosh.
but over a period of time.
Wow.
But on average, I'd help a flipper. So listen, everybody, listen, all the agents, listen to this. When you help a flipper, yes, you get a lower commission when they first buy the house. It needs to be remodeled because it's undervalued.
Yeah.
But you put in your documents, you put in your agreement that you get first right of refusal when they go to
Yep.
resell it. So you get the listing. You're
Yep.
going to get, and you know you're going to sell it because the flipper's dead in the water unless they sell it. So you know you're going
Exactly.
to sell it and you get a
Yep.
bigger commission. And by the way, if you're really good at your marketing, and I want to talk about marketing a little bit here too, Chris. If you're good
Okay.
at your marketing, which you should be, because if you're in the real estate business, that means you're in the marketing business.
Yep.
You get the end user buyer too. That's three commissions, a high percentage of the time. Show me
Mm-hmm.
where you can do that in any other business sector, any other type of client. I know luxury people. Hey, I want the luxury homes because I'm going to get 50,000 a pop. I get it, but if you stop selling luxury, you stop making money. Here are the
Yep.
investing. Gradually, we're accumulating our own properties. We get a duplex here. We flip a house here. We do another fourplex. Over time, we have passive income coming in, guys. All right, that's
Mm-hmm.
what this is all about. It's not so much you serving others. It is the more people you serve, the more you're going to make. But remember, you got to start with your own family too and take care of your own family. You got to buy some of your own properties. And
Mm-hmm.
we could talk about property management too, but I want to kind of get back to you. I don't want to keep talking about me. People have heard enough about me. They want to know about you, man. So
Yeah.
so I understand you're doing a good bit on social media. So
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the things you're doing, or kind of the themes or the methods, if you don't mind sharing that?
Yeah, 100%. Really, it's just posting constantly. I think, and just don't be afraid to show up, and don't be afraid of like, or don't try to look perfect is the biggest thing that I'll say. A
Mhm.
lot of people, they'll have analysis paralysis. They're like, hey, I can't post or I can't upload this video because I don't sound perfect. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way that I sound, any of that. They overanalyze themselves and they just don't put it out. The crazy thing about that is you have people putting out, I don't want to say they're trash videos, but they're videos that they just wake up and they're like, hey, and they get
Yep,
clients from that at the end of the day. So I think a
yep,
lot of people, they care too much about, okay, likes, comments, all of that really doesn't matter. I've always remember this story of a person on YouTube who only had 3 subscribers, and one of his subscribers was Oprah Winfrey. you
wow,
know like that's so powerful. Like you never really
yep,
know, like you never really know who's watching. The thing about social
right,
media is somebody's always watching. And it
right,
used to be back in the day, like you used to have to submit resumes, for people to want to work with you and things. Like now your social media is your resume. I've had so many
yeah,
times where there's clients, whether it's sellers on an acquisition appointment, whatever, things like that, they will pull up my Instagram, they will pull up my website, they'll say, okay, what is this guy about? And as being able to establish that rapport through my resume on social media has helped out tremendously. Like, Gary, I've never had a seller ask me for a proof of funds or
yeah,
ask EMD or anything like that. Like, they
yep,
trust me because I have that
yep,
rapport, that resume on social media. So I think it's super important for anybody, whether you're an agent or whether you're an investor, to just post. And it doesn't have to look the best. Like, and the thing is, you will gradually get better. I look at my videos I was posted 5 years ago, I'm like, oh my god, like these are trash.
yeah.
Like, what was I doing? But
I know.
the thing is, people like seeing that too, because they like seeing the journey, they like seeing the come up.
Mm,
And I was
yeah,
never the best person at follow up. I'm not gonna lie, I was never the best person with nurturing leads. But
yep,
because my clients, they followed me on social media, they constantly saw I was doing real estate, so they constantly referred business to me. And the same thing when I switched to investing, they're like, oh, he's walking these properties, oh, he's meeting with a seller, so they naturally trust me now and give me further business on that side too.
yeah, yeah. I tell you what, it's just so funny when YouTube first came out. People
Hmm.
were telling me, "Hey, you got to be on YouTube." I'm like, what's
Hmm.
YouTube? And they said, just Google it and you'll see it. It'll make
Yeah.
sense. So I quickly figured out how to get YouTube on my phone. I record a video and I load up. So here's a perfect example. One of the very first ones I did, it was a 9 unit building. And
Yeah.
I'm walking through, recording, going through the units, each unit, here's the bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, here's the rents, here's the expenses. It was like 3 triplexes connected is what it was. And it turns out at the end, I did it bash backwards. I thought I had the turned on where I'm showing the property, but I
Oh,
had
it
it
was
on
on you.
me showing me. And I'm telling you, hey, look at the living room. But they're not seeing the living room, they're seeing me. So in any case, I got a first response was people laughed like LOL. You had no idea what you're doing. It was funny. But one guy said, I don't care what you're showing. I want to know more about that building. And I sold the building in a
Wow.
YouTube video. That very first one.
Nice. Nice.
And the rest they say is history. I mean, in my early ones, we've gotten rid of them because they were so horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one I literally forgot I was doing a video, and I'm holding the
Uh-huh.
phone up to my ear like I'm talking on the phone, and it's like that's the whole thing's my ear. It's just
Yeah.
I know it sounds stupid, but it's true. And you're so right. People, and I think people resonate with you when you're being authentic and genuine.
Yeah.
People want to
Yep.
know they feel like they know you and they trust you and they can do business with you.
Yep.
And but you were trying to put on an act and you're trying to read from a script, people can tell.
Yep.
People are smart. So treat them like they're smart. Be real. Be genuine. And my YouTube channel now is we got over 1,000 videos. We just restarted it a few years ago, and
Okay.
now we record everything. I record everything.
Nice.
They become assets. So I highly recommend everybody out there listening. Listen to Chris. Use YouTube, and if you go to look at a house, go to tour a house, record it. It's
Yep.
your video. You
Mm-hmm.
don't you want to give the address and stuff like that, but you can
Yeah.
put it out there. You look at this brand new place down on Lincoln Bay. You know,
Mm-hmm.
a 12 unit building on Lincoln. How'd you like to have it on Lincoln Bay? So, um, any case, really, really powerful stuff. Um, I want to dig a little bit deeper here. So I want you to talk a little bit about being an entrepreneur. I mean, being under 30, there's a
Hmm.
great article called 30 Under 30, like the top 30 people under 30 in real estate.
Yeah.
And if you haven't made that, I'm going to see if I can make some contacts for you. That'd be some good
Hey, that would
PR
be
for you.
great. That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
But I want to talk about being an entrepreneur versus being an employee and what
Uh,
it really means. Because just like everything in life, there's good and bad. But to me, the good way outweighs the bad. The bad is just to me, I don't even care because I'm going to do this
yeah.
no matter what. Can never go back to the corporate world,
Yeah.
personally. But tell us
Yeah.
about that for yourself, if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's a great point that you bring up. I think a lot of people have that struggle who are employees and they want to be entrepreneurs. I think a lot of people are natural entrepreneurs, but they conform to the employee lifestyle because they get the false sense of security. They feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
safer to be employed. They're like, okay, I know my 9 to 5 job is going to pay me X amount every 2 weeks, so this is a safer bet. But the thing is, it's not really safe because as we've seen in recent history with the layoffs, or even not the layoffs, like how people thought they could work remote. Nah, not anymore. Now you got to come in the office. You really have no
Yeah.
control over that. And okay, what if they decide to sell the company and they lay everybody off? Then what? You have really no
Mm-hmm.
control over what goes on. They can increase your pay by as little as they want to, or not increase it at all, no matter how hard
Yeah.
you work. And that was my biggest hang up with when it came to being an employee. I was like, okay, so no matter how hard I work, nothing is in my hands. I have no control over it. It just
Right.
didn't make much sense to me. Versus as an entrepreneur, yeah, it's a lot more risk and it's
Mm-hmm.
very ugly for a lot of people at first. I know for me it was extremely ugly at first. And I was having those thoughts like maybe I should actually be an employee. I really need to make some money. Nothing seems like it's working. I'm working as hard as possible. I'm working harder than anybody in my office, but it's still not
Right.
working. Maybe this isn't meant for me. But the thing is, like, I think being an entrepreneur requires a different level of faith.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think when you do have faith, like that's what can sustain you through the entrepreneur journey because there's so many trials, there's so many tribulations. Even when things are going well, there's still there. I think there's even more trials and tribulations when things are going well. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
and you just have to have faith at the end of the day and just know that things are going to work out. And I always say like with hard work and faith, like literally anything is possible. Anything is
Yeah.
possible. And that's why, I do love the entrepreneur journey so much is because you can write your own destiny. You can write your own story versus being an
Mhm.
employee. That pen is never in your hands. It's in somebody else's
Yep.
hands.
Yep. When you're an employee, you're writing someone else's story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was a famous quote from Dave Liniger. He's the founder of Remax. And Remax was one of the great,
Hmm.
true
Hmm.
American rags to riches stories. The guy went through pure hell to get
Hmm.
where he ended up. But the reality is his book Above the Clouds. And I'm not promoting Remax. I've never been a Remax agent. I was going
Yeah.
to start a brokerage at one point where Remax would decided I wanted to be independent. But in any case, I just read his book called Above the Clouds, and the last words in the last page, last chapter were never hit your dreams with somebody else's wagon. And
Mm.
that stuck with me because I actually used that when they approached me, said, "Why aren't you going to do the franchise?" And I said, "Because Dave Liniger told me not to do that." And and he has the four executives he went sent to see me, and because we were growing during the big recession years, my
Yeah.
brokerage grew sixfold in the first 3 years of that recession because we worked with investors. We're the
Yeah.
fastest growing brokerage in Pennsylvania at the time, and everybody
Nice.
was trying to buy me. In any case, I went to a conference. Actually, it's a book called 3 Feet from Gold by Greg Reed, and I got invited to go to the unveiling of that out in Anaheim, California. They made it like a big movie unveiling. It was crazy. The people that were there, I mean, Lou Brown and um, Kihara Vector, all these awesome people were there. And I got to
Hmm.
be in a red carpet district. And to lo and behold, 2 tables away is Dave Liniger. I went over and introduced myself. And he said, "I know your name." And I said, "I know because you sent people to see me. And please forgive me. I decided to stay independent. And here's why." I told him about the book. And he said, "Congratulations, man. You got the lesson, you know?"
Nice.
And the rest is history. I've been all over US and Canada. Um, teaching people about working with investors, teaching agents. And I feel
Hmm.
like I've only made a scratch. I mean, I made a dent in it yet,
Yeah.
because, into the industry, every 2 years there's like a new flock of people coming through,
Yep.
and
Yep.
most people don't make it. So if you
Mhm.
want to make it in this business, guys, you need to listen to Chris. You need to pay attention. You need to get some investors in your model. I mean, 50 states and thousands of cities and towns in this country.
Mhm.
Surely you can make a dent. You can find 10 investors. 10 investors will change your life. So Chris, how if people want to learn more from you or work with you, particularly investing in the 757, you have a website? How can people get a hold of you? What's the
Yeah.
best thing for them to do?
Yeah, for sure. So if people want to learn any information, I would say the best part is my YouTube. I give out a lot of free content on YouTube, and my YouTube is at I am Chris A. Williams. And you can find me on all social platforms under that tagline at I am Chris A. Williams also. If you
Okay.
guys are if you're an investor and you're interested in working with me or working with my team, you can reach out to at Assets Real Estate Team. We're also on all social media platforms too. And like I said, we're very investor friendly. We would love to, work with investors. I'm actually working with an investor who is his first time investing in Virginia right now, who's from Pennsylvania himself.
Okay.
So we're open to working with any investor across the globe, to be honest with you. There's a lot of deals. As you know, Gary, the 757 has so much potential, and they're
Oh
really
yeah,
building it up right now too. I think it's a great time to invest in the area.
it is. Yeah, Norfolk, though, like the waterside was built when I was there before, and
Mm-hmm.
then it had a few bad years, but
Yeah.
it's rebuilding now. The whole everything that's down there. I know the curator at the MacArthur Memorial. It was a college buddy of mine. You wouldn't
Nice.
recognize him if you saw him back then. I mean, we were. I don't even know how the heck we got out of school, but somehow we managed to do that. But
Yeah.
um, but everybody, it's a great area. I tell you,
Mm-hmm.
it's very the climate is great. Even in January, the average daytime high is like 48. I know
Mm-hmm.
it's not Florida, but 48 in sunshine feels pretty good, right?
Yep. Yep.
You got some major universities there. You've got a huge military presence, obviously tourism,
Mm-hmm.
fishing. It's not going anywhere, guys. I mean,
Yep.
and I'm telling you, people, and there's the best thing of all for all the agents. If you want to live near the beach, near the water, Tidewater is awesome because all I did when I first was in production, I put in it. This is when Stars and Stripes magazine was printed. They don't print anymore; it's all online. I put
Mm-hmm.
an editor, and most agents will put their business card in there. That's all they did. Business card, Jane Doe, ABC Realty. Here's my phone number. I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't work. So I put in there specializing in military real estate investors. And man, I had all the
Nice.
business I could handle. People were calling me from air bases in Germany, in
Wow.
California. Hey, I want to. My agent said you work with investors. I said I sure do, man. And I told him about my background, and because I was a sub chaser for the Navy for a while. I
Mm-hmm.
tracked Soviet subs and worked at NASA at Langley Air Force Base. So I fit right in. I wasn't an active duty because I had a heart murmur, but I was right in there with them, and I
Mm-hmm.
resonated with them, and I just served that relationship. And one of them taught me, I got my first property was Sock and his dad, but another retired Navy guy showed me
Mm-hmm.
some ropes too to get me going further. And the rest of the is history. So guys, listen, look, remember this. Hashtag I am Chris A. Williams. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
also hashtag Access Real Estate Team. Access Real Estate Team. Right. And
Yep.
get a hold of Chris. Do some investing. Learn about investing. If you're an agent, you think you want to be an agent. This is a much more fun way to be an agent. I'm telling you,
Yes.
than working your Sundays, opening up houses for people you don't know and putting cookies in the oven. This is working with people who are making some money, and
Yep.
you can make some money too if you do the same thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, hey Chris, I can't thank you enough, man. I can't wait to. I'll be up there. I think Memorial Day weekend. I'll look you up. If it doesn't work at that weekend, there'll be other times. I'm up there easily 4 or 5 times a year, and I'll
Okay.
probably be living there again. So I think there's a lot more in store for us. What I've learned is there's no shortage of opportunities. And what you're
Yep.
doing in the 757, I'm telling you, dude, you can do it in a lot of other markets too, and you never have to leave your house. I'll show
Mm-hmm.
you how to do that. But
Okay.
everybody, yeah, and everybody listening, listen. Um, do a review on this one. You definitely got some gold nuggets on this one. Leave a review because we appreciate your reviews. Doesn't cost anything, just takes a few minutes, and it means the world to us. So give Chris some love, leave a review. We will see you on the next Massive Passive Cash Flow podcast. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves and your family. God bless you and all your loved ones. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Massive Passive Cash Flow. Be sure to go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.